thank all the witnesses, and I'll just lead off on the questions. I'll try to keep it to 5 minutes, so we all should have a chance before the votes that come up. Let me just note, as a former journalist, I am fully aware that when you restrict people's right to criticize the government, it encourages corruption, and it makes it more difficult to solve the problems that exist. And that's so there's an actual, besides just a principle of believing in freedom of speech, it serves the country which respects freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And I hope our friends in Azerbaijan understand that, they can come to understand that. And especially because I'm sure that there are people, there are patriots in that country who are both in the government and outside the government that want what's best for their country. And the criticism that that has been leveled, even here today, was not leveled at trying to say that we don't like Azerbaijan and we think of them as an enemy. No, it's just the opposite. We want to create a pathway so that in the 10 years from now, we can have had a great relationship with a great country that's serving the purpose of peace and stability, as well as protecting the rights of their own people. Let me ask a little bit about this. We know how Azerbaijan compares to the United States or Great Britain. How does it compare in human rights to Iran, its neighbor? Anybody want to answer that? Don't all jump in at once. I mean, is Azerbaijan actually, are there more human rights in Azerbaijan than in Iran? Respect for the human rights there? Are there more?
Well, I think one way of answering that is seeing if people from Azerbaijan go to Iran or vice versa to get a breather. And as you know, a lot of people from Iran are buying apartments and the like in Azerbaijan in order to get out of Iran. I think it also depends on exactly what rights you're talking about. Especially if you talk about religious rights, there's absolutely no comparison, since Azerbaijan actually protects its people from religious extremism, whereas Iran does the opposite. If you talk about other types of rights, you could have a less of a differentiation.
Let me just know, when I take a look, and as I mentioned in the opening statement, at the countries that the neighborhood that Azerbaijan's in, this is a very tough neighborhood, and I don't believe that any of those countries demonstrably have more respect for human rights than the Azeris have. That's not an excuse for it, but that's putting it in perspective. And we should not be singling out Azerbaijan. If we're going to have a solid commitment on human rights, which I believe in, we have to make sure that the people in the Azerbaijani government know that they're not being singled out with a double standard. And so what about Armenia? It's my understanding that that is still a very repressive government in Armenia. How would you compare the human rights in Azerbaijan with Armenia? Anyone want to jump into that?
I have a real problem in comparing, what about some other country? I mean, you can say that there are more political prisoners in Azerbaijan than there are in Russia and Belarus together.
Okay.
I think
the reason that comparison is made is because without doing it, comparing it to its neighbors, it is automatically being compared to Western Europe and the United States. I mean, automatically that's our standard, and that may not be fair. Unless we are willing to make it sure that what we're demanding is of each and every one of those countries in the neighborhood.
But are we comparing it in terms of numbers of political prisoners and numbers of opposition newspapers? I mean, these kinds of comparisons become there's not just one recognized factor.
Yeah, there's a bunch of factors that you chart in to that. Did you want to jump into that?
Azerbaijan did join the Council of Europe and has been a signatory to other organizations, which entailed that it commit itself to upholding human rights and democratization. And Iran, for example, has not done that.
Of course.
And so it's important to note that Azerbaijan made these commitments and has not fulfilled them. That's at the most basic level.
It's not really better to have a country that just says thumbs their nose at anything in the West, saying that we don't even respect your basic values that you're trying to push, versus another country that says, well, we really believe in those, but then they fall far short of reaching the standard. those are the two things we face.
I would assume that they're signing it says they are committed to those rights. I don't think we're seeing that.
Well, I honestly believe we need to make sure human rights is a major part of our policy, but we have to make sure that governments like Azerbaijan, which have not reached that stage, don't think that we're singling them out because we don't like them for one reason, or our government is being manipulated by somebody who doesn't like them. About the OSCE, has Azerbaijan agreed, or has there been an agreement with Azerbaijan with OSCE about solving the Nagorno-Karabakh dispute? Have they agreed to allow the OSCE to try to find a solution, and has Armenia done that? Mr. Ambassador?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the OSCE Minsk Group process, not to be confused with the one relating to Ukraine, has been in place for several decades. The United States, France, and Russia are co-chairs as mediators, and I think it's a misunderstanding that sometimes both Armenia and Azerbaijan engage in, as if the Minsk Group itself, the mediators, are going to provide a solution. It's really providing a mechanism where Azerbaijan and Armenia can engage together in trying to find a peaceful solution to the
Well, they
conflict.
both have agreed to that.
Both have agreed to the process, but both have also agreed not to really make the political commitment necessary to solve the NK problem. And that's why there's an impasse today. Neither Baku nor Yerevan have made the kind of commitment to solve the problem.
I've used up
There-
my time. Mr. Meeks.
Thank you.